Bankruptcy, divorce laws, disability, probate, there are so many classes on the path to practicing law. Unfortunately, most schools fail to instruct you on the business of law. This is Solo De Facto, a show dedicated to discovering the success secrets that exist in the reality of running a solo practice. My goal is to find the one thing that separates each guest from the rest to give you practical solutions to create a thriving firm. Solo De Facto is sponsored by Back Office Betties, trusted virtual legal receptionist.
Welcome, everyone. We're here with another great episode of Solo De Facto. I'm your host, Tom Dufton, and I'm here with an awesome guest. I'm really excited for this one. She's a fellow podcast host of the Professional Use Only podcast. She's the founder and managing attorney at Anderson Law Firm. Please welcome Nequosha Anderson. Nequosha, welcome.
Hi, Tom. Hi, everyone listening. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
I'm glad to have you on here for so many reasons. I mean, it's always great to have a fellow podcast host, but you also have such a wealth of knowledge. And I just want to spend the next couple of minutes really picking your brain apart here. So let's get right down to it. Not in that
God.
way, but
I mean, we can get a little Hannibal Lecter if you want, but I don't think that's the route our listeners want to go.
We'll do the pick your brain. There we go. That's much better.
Yes.
All right, so we'll dive right into it here. So let's start out here. And what's one thing you wish attorneys knew about running a successful law firm?
I wish attorneys knew to hire early. I wish I was taught this in law school. I wish I knew the advantages. Of course, there are some disadvantages, but the advantages definitely outweigh anything else. Hire help early. You cannot do everything.
No, hiring help early, what does that allow you to do? But once you get all the people?
So hiring help early allows you to, one, buy back your time. That's the most important resource that you will ever have. So it's one of those things, if you can buy back time, it'll afford you the opportunity to do other things that you wouldn't necessarily be able to do if your deliverables are keeping you in the line of production. For instance, if you had that assistant to answer the phones, you won't keep getting interrupted. If you had an assistant that could prep your office templates, or at least get the file ready to a point where you don't have to do a lot of the back end work, it's all ready to go. So as soon as you touch the file, you're ready. And had I learned this at an earlier stage in my practice, I probably would be further along. So I just tell everyone, buying back your time is the most important thing you could ever do.
Now, I love the way you say that. I mean, time is such a precious commodity, and especially in work when things constantly get crazy, having all that time is invaluable.
Most definitely. Most definitely. You cannot put a price point. And then I know there are listeners who are like, well, Nequosha, my firm is barely generating $2,000 a month. My firm is barely generating $5,000. I can barely pay myself. What are you talking about? Well, what does that look like really? You're only generating $2,000 or $5,000 a month in income because you're doing all the things. If you would hire a receptionist, just to start with the easiest task, if you hire a receptionist at 10, 15, even $20 an hour for 5 hours a week, that's only $100, but you got back 5 hours of your time to go get more work, to go network, to go let people know that you're out here and what you can do and provide for them, because that's 5 hours you were doing something else. So I always look at it in that metric of, what can I outsource at the cheapest cost? For me, reception service. For me, a legal assistant with filing things in my Dropbox or whatever cloud server you may use to house your stuff. Think of it in those terms, and then you will be off to a better stop. And I don't know why the formula works, but this formula works, and that's just the way it is.
Now, why is it so hard for so many people to do this?
I would say it's so hard for so many people to do this, Tom, seriously, because we weren't taught. And as lawyers, we are taught to look at everything from both angles. Well, I'm currently at this stage, so how do you expect me to project to afford a legal assistant. I'm currently here and I'm barely making ends meet and my savings is slowly dwindling. I don't know the first thing. Well, I always tell people when we became lawyers, we learned how to be technicians. We didn't learn how to be entrepreneurs per se in the law business. And that's one of the key aspects I always teach in any, whether it's law, medical, you're a photographer, whatever you are, you have to treat your business like a business and run it as such. But if you don't know where to start, one of the key components is do a brain dump and write down all the tasks that you're currently doing and then put a value next to it. If it doesn't require your certified expertise as a photographer to do, you can outsource it. If you're a lawyer, for instance, and if it doesn't require a JD to do, if it doesn't require a law license to do, you can outsource it.
Now, I love what you said about doing that brain dump there. That's fantastic. And that's just one way for people to start doing this. So, what are some other ways that people can really start realizing that they can better use their time by outsourcing for a lot of that?
Another way is, of course, a time study. You can certainly turn on a timer. You can go to Google and Google timer, and one will come up for free. You can even have a timer on your phone if you're anti-Google, because there are some people who are anti-Google. So you can just set a timer to see how long it's really taking you to do tasks. And I think that was one of the best things I could do because I realized that what I thought it was taking me, it really wasn't. And then also I learned about value-based billing because I use a lot of flat fees in my practice. I'm not a hourly or evergreen type of retainer type firm. I'm flat fee. So I don't bill, of course, in the traditional sense of a law practice. But even if I did, I needed to know how to balance my value adds for my clients. And that let me know what I was doing, how I was doing it. And I know a lot of firms are currently taught that traditional method of you point 0.6, point 0.9, all the points and point 0.1, point 0.1, point 0.1. So if that is you, I would say definitely do a time study. You may want to look at other revenue models in the law firm business methods because they may actually produce more income for you than the hourly. Because when you do hourly, you have to account for admin time to produce the invoice, and you're not getting paid for that. And I think a lot of people don't understand that when you are hourly, you have a little bit more admin time and that's not billable.
Now, I love the way you say all of that. And I feel like this is a huge misconception that a lot of people have, thinking that they can tackle everything themselves.
Yep.
So, what are some other misconceptions that people might have in the area of law?
Oh goodness, that I have to know every single fact, every single case as it relates to my practice area. You're not going to know everything. And if you're fresh starting out or you're coming off the boot, as I say, of law school, you don't know a lot of things. And you're going to have to get in the trenches and just start digging. And that practice of learning will never stop. So understand that you won't know everything, and that's okay. You just need to understand the tools that you were provided in law school will never fail you. Number one, analyze the problem. Number two, what rules apply to this particular problem? Once I understand the rules, how do they uh, coincide to where my facts are? The same thing we had to do is the same thing with any issue. And pretty soon you'll start learning these particular issues typically have these typical responses. Every time it won't be the same, but for the most part, they have a general pattern.
Now, that's a great way of saying it. I feel like a lot of it, the in the trenches. I love the way that's said because a lot of the job, learning on the job, is a huge thing for a lot of people, and you're taught a lot of skills in school and in college, but really getting that experience at work is just so invaluable. So, if you want to talk a little bit deeper about that.
I would say that in this practice of law is in business, um, in order to generate more business in anything, you have to have some soft skills. You have to have some empathy. You have to have sympathy, and you have to gauge your life experiences and understand that the next person you encounter's life experiences may not be the same as yours. Um, And I think that when we approach things and approach getting clients in that way, approach how we practice law, how we manage our team, how we then learn work-life balance. If you apply these principles to that, I think it'll set the tone for a totally different experience for most lawyers, because so many, especially women lawyers, a lot of women lawyers are getting burnt out, especially right in the heart of the season we are in, because so much is falling on their plate, not just work related, but household related. So if you approach that principle of having sympathy, having empathy for the next person you encounter, it'll change the dynamics of that relationship and change how you practice. It may change how for instance, how opposing counsel may encounter you, how the judge may encounter you if you're a litigator or your practice includes that type of role. I'm more transactional, so I don't have to deal with judges on a day-to-day or a lot of opposing counsels. Most of my clients are creatives, entrepreneurs, and they're happy and they're excited. And so I get to deal with those individuals, but oftentimes they're anti rules and structure. They're more in a different frame of thinking as it relates to what they do. So learning how to understand that if I come to them and say we got to do boom, 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 that's too much structure. They don't understand that. But that took me having empathy for understanding how they learn. And the same rule and principle applies no matter what you're doing.
I think that's amazing. I mean, it's so true that honestly, any aspect of work, when people, you have to have empathy for others because you never know how others learn and everybody learns differently.
That
I
is
think that,
so true.
yeah, I think that's such a huge part of a lot of this. And I think that's, that actually feeds into my next question here.
Okay.
What are one or two things about running a firm or business that is the most challenging or people are struggling with?
Oh, okay, Tom. Okay, so when you said 1 to 2, I may have 5. No, I'm joking.
You can list as many as you want. I'm not going to hold you back.
I appreciate that. So I would say one of the 2 things that are holding a lot of people back is imposter syndrome. I know for me being a African American lawyer in the United States, I make up about 5% of the practicing attorneys right now, which is a very low percentage in relation to the population of lawyers and the population of the United States, of course. So for a lot of people who look like me, they've never encountered a lawyer who looks like them. I can't even, I'll run out of fingers, hands, and toes if I told you in my previous practice of working for the government how many clients I encountered where I was the first Black attorney they ever experienced. I was the first Black woman attorney they ever experienced, and they never like, oh, you do exist. So I say one of the key things that's holding a lot of people back is not seeing people who look like them. And then on the flip side of that is the old guard or people who have been in the profession won't hire people who look like us because we may not have came from the traditional track of an Ivy League school or a top tier school, but we still are educated and capable and have the drive and the grit to get out here and hit the pavement to actually be great producing for the profession. So I say that's 1, that's 2. And then the last thing, since I've reactivated my practice and came back into private practice, I would say a challenge is just finances. I would definitely say finances is a challenge because again, it goes back to that training or lack thereof, where you don't know what you don't know, but you have this like this huge amount of pressure of don't mess it up, because if you mess it up, they're gonna come get you. And you're like, when are they coming? Oh my God. It's like this invisible boogeyman. But when they come, or if you're into Harry Potter, the oh gosh, what were they called? The dog,
Oh,
the
Dementors.
the
That's what they were.
Dementors, yes. So the Dementors are coming. And so that's all but the Florida bar, if you encounter people who work where I work at the Florida bar, well, where I'm licensed, I don't work for the Florida bar, but 100% of the people who work there are pleasant, great people, great individuals. They're not that dark, scary, shadowy thing that we think is going to come and get us if we don't have our trust account in the right way. Or, oh my God, this client is complaining about something. Oh my goodness, they're going to fire me. And so you're like panicking and freaking out when in actuality, you take a deep breath, you understand, okay, what systems do I have in place? What resources can I use? I'm pretty sure my bar has something written down to where they can guide me, at least get me on the right track. Um, Also try to find a mentor. I think that's another thing that's holding people back is the lack of mentors in the space or being able to know how to ask for a mentor. And that then goes back to what my fourth or fifth point of relationship building. I don't believe a lot of lawyers understand the importance of relationship building in this profession or just in life in general, because it's relationships that's actually going to guide you and hold your firm and hold you personally, professionally, when it feels like nothing else is working out. I can't even tell you the amount of uh, referrals I have gotten, or just from people who I didn't even know were watching me, but they've encountered me in my past, or how I may have saw they had a bad day and I just randomly send them a card that made them smile. It's the little things that will grow your firm, not necessarily that you're not on the side of a bus, you're not on the side of that billboard, you're not on the nightly news advertising your firm. Yes, those things are great. And if you have the marketing budget for that, go ahead, knock it out. But for most solo practitioners, we don't. So we have to learn the other side of marketing, which is all about relationships.
So does that go in with kind of the word of mouth marketing in a sense of
It,
just, letting your
yeah,
practice speak for itself?
it can, and but you actually have to be a little proactive and you have to be strategic in what you do and how you do it. Are you actually cultivating your referral partners? Do people really even know what you do? How many like do you have a way of saying what you do that's going to make impact in how someone describes you to someone else? The goal is to always have ambassadors, and you can have ambassadors in your firm um, even without paying them. For example, if you have a signature way of saying what you do. For instance, I always tell people, because most people don't know what IP is. So I say, well, I assist entrepreneurs in protecting their income producing ideas so they don't get robbed. Or I flip it or something like that. Or I help entrepreneurs not get robbed of their income producing ideas. You're going to remember robbed and income and ideas. If I told you I'm a business and intellectual property attorney, you're going to, what?
It'll go right over everybody's head.
Everybody said, but if you're going to remember being robbed and income producing ideas, right? So it lands a little different. You need to just make sure when you do what you do, make sure it's landing and understand you can tweak that for the spaces that you're in. And then also make sure your follow-up game is on point. I can't even tell you how many speaking engagements or other networking or whatever it was, and or law students, even speaking to law students. I've gone out and spoke to people and gave them my cards and specifically told them, hey, follow up with me on X day and X time. Do you think they did it?
No.
No. And that speaks volume, because the next time you encounter me, I'm going to remember you didn't do it. You didn't follow up. Follow up is going to separate you from others.
No, that's so true because following up is so important for everything. I mean, a
It
lot of
is.
people kind of forget it's those little things that really make a huge difference and it brings out people's personality.
Oh,
I think a lot
yeah.
of people are kind of afraid to show their personality. They kind of
Oh,
sit
honey.
behind the, oh, suit and tie, and I have to be so formal and, I have to sit upright.
No, you don't. And I told people when I was in government practice, I was in court every day, and we all know what that looks like. But I wore skirts. I wore printed skirts, African skirts. I wore red lipstick. I had different color blazers. I accessorized with glasses. So right now I have on red glasses. I have blue glasses. I have clear glasses. I just did all different types of things to express my personality. And now that I'm back in private practice, honey, I wear Chuck Taylors, I wear red lipstick, I wear hoodies, and I still get my job done. I'm still making results happen for my clients. Nobody really cares that I may have on pajama bottoms. So
Especially in this day and age with a lot of people working from home, it's so different now.
nobody cares. As long as you can produce results and they are happy with the results that you are getting for them, you're golden.
I mean, that's perfect. And I actually want to talk to you a little bit too about what excites you about the future.
Ooh, so I'm super excited for the growth of tech tools in the law, on the practice of law. I feel like this is a definite. I feel like this is an environment of we're on the cusp of so many great things. We're getting so many new tech tools specifically tailored for lawyers, which I think is great. I'm happy that more practitioners are embracing technology. I'm excited that the court systems, because I'm on a committee for our bar, and some of the things that me and other committee members are working on are uh, tailored language for virtual hearings, language for virtual appearances, which is so important. I know there are some people who enjoy that, getting up, putting on the suit, driving to court, but there are a lot of practitioners who understand the benefit of being able to appear in multiple places without getting in their car and wasting away or paying tolls, because in the state of Florida, we have so many tolls. So it's one of those things I'm excited. Those are a few of the things I'm excited about.
Perfect. And now I want to take this time to get to really know you. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Oh
Take
my
it all the way back here.
Well, I was born on a Saturday morning. No.
Yeah. Was it raining? Was it sunny? All that.
I don't think it was raining per se, but who's Nequosha? Nequosha she is a daughter, she is a wife, she is a mother to a rambunctious 9-year-old little girl. She is ambitious, she is courageous, she is loving, she is caring she is excited to learn. Nequosha prides herself on her work product. She can definitely be hard on herself at times. Nequosha is an individual who has the tenacity to teach herself how to knit by watching YouTube videos. She taught herself. She enjoys reading, and her favorite restaurant is California Pizza Kitchen.
I've never been there, but now I'm gonna have to try that one.
Oh, you have got to go. They have a special. They have with their rewards, so make sure you sign up with their rewards. This is not sponsored. I'm just a dedicated.
I'm in so many reward programs now. I got Shaw's because it's right down the street for me.
Okay.
So it's just all of that. As soon as I see it, I'm like, well, I might as well.
Yes. I think that's a good. I mean, I could keep going, but Nequosha, I would say I'm pretty dope. I think I'm pretty dope. I am a push the envelope, do it, ask questions later. I used to work with a coworker, and she taught me this saying that it's just better to ask for forgiveness than permission. And that kind of stuck with me. So I always tell people, just do it. What's the worst that can happen?
Exactly. I think a lot of people get lost in that everyday kind of sense of just live your life and be happy.
Yes, you're missing out on so much opportunity by conforming to individuals' ideals of you, and they may not match who you truly are. So if you be who you are, they will have to adapt.
Now, you said you're an avid reader as well there. What's the latest book that you've read? Because I'm always looking for a new book.
Oh, I'm now in this professional development, business development phase. So I've been listening. I have an Audible subscription. So I've been listening to Atomic Habits. I've been listening to Oh my gosh. Can I pick up my phone?
Yeah, go
Because I
right
feel
ahead.
like I'm on the spot. Give me a second.
I know. I'm always trying to remember the names of books. I can remember everything about it except the name.
Yes. I'm like, oh my gosh, you would ask me that. So I just finished Never Lose a Customer by Joey Coleman, which is very, very good. If you're a practitioner, I highly recommend. Joey Coleman is a former lawyer, and he wrote a really great book about the client journey and how it's the little things that really matter the most. So, Never Lose a Customer by Joey Coleman, and of course, Profit First by Mike um, Michalowicz, which is how I manage our accounting in the firm. And then Atomic Habits, again, by James Clear, is the latest book. And I have a whole bunch in my library that are pending, but I'm not going to bore you with all of those.
Well, after the show, you and I will have to talk more about
Okay,
all these
yes.
books.
Yes.
And it's so great too. You're saying you have a 9-year-old. Actually, I'm a uncle to 3 kids now. And
Oh, you're the fun. I love, see,
I,
I'm a only, so I won't be biologically, I won't be an aunt or uncle, but I do have a nephew. Um, my husband's brother has a son, so I am an aunt.
oh, it's
I'm
the
throwing up,
best.
yes, but I don't get to see my little nephew that often, and I'm a godmom, so I do have other little babies around me that I just love on, in addition to my 9-year-old.
I mean, I like being an uncle simply for the fact that I can just kind of do whatever and rile the kids up and then send them
Yeah.
right back.
That is a beauty, right? So I am the aunt that does. I told you I follow the philosophy of ask forgiveness and permission later. So I give the kids candy. I buy them all the toys and things like that their parents won't buy. I get them. I'll be like, "What you want?" Okay, I put it in the Amazon.
Oh, see, my fiance is the same way. She gets the best gifts for the kids,
Mm.
and all the time she's like, "Well, what do you think they want? Should we get them this?" And I'll go, "Sounds good to me."
Listen, you
You
should.
do it, and I'll just take partial credit for it.
No, you take all the credit, and then next thing, what you do is you get them Nerf guns, right? And you have a Nerf fight. You get
Oh,
them, you
oh yeah.
get them early. So then, right now, while it's cold, the temperatures drop. You get the, the little styrofoam ones, but when it starts warming up, we get the water guns, and
Yep.
then we can have like a night brigade like attack, and then they even have like laser ones where you could do like laser. Listen, we have all the fun. You have to have fun.
I mean, that's the whole point of life. You got to enjoy it. You got to live it up.
You do.
We actually got my nephew a whole thing of it was called like dinosaur blasters, and it's Nerf guns, but dinosaur
See?
themed.
See, you already
Yeah.
know.
I'm like, this is fantastic. I'm having fun and I'm an adult. So
You should even probably put like a little Nerf section in your office. So if you're having a
oh,
bad
we do
day,
have one.
see if you're having a bad day, just boom, put it on the wall or whatever. I won't say whose pictures you should put up. That's up to you.
It's a
And
big stress relief.
I agree. And it doesn't hurt anybody. So I'm always down for that.
No, this has been such an amazing conversation, and I have had so much fun with you. Where can people connect with you?
Oh my goodness. So I am usually on Al Gore's internet on Instagram. So you can find me at Esquire, the number 44. So Esquire 44. And I'm pretty sure that would be somewhere in the description box, somewhere in the show notes. And then if you want to connect with me, if you're interested in learning more on how I can help you with your business and consulting, or you're looking to trademark or protect some form of your income producing ideas, you can find me or book a consult at my website, which is andersonlawfl.com. Yes, it's andersonlawfl.com because I'm not the only Anderson Law in the state of Florida. So I had to differentiate myself.
I mean, that's the key, really.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been so much fun.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I had a ball.
And I've learned so much from you, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners have as well. And for the listeners out there, please share the podcast. And if you learned something today, and I know I did, I got 2 pages of notes here, double-sided. So if I learned a lot, you guys definitely learned a lot. So that wraps it up for a great episode of Solo De Facto, and I will see you guys next time.
Thank you for joining us for today's show. For more information, visit our site at solodefacto.com. And remember, smash that like and subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Solo De Facto is sponsored by Back Office Betties, trusted virtual legal receptionist, helping you grow your firm one call, one chat, one new client at a time. To discover how they can help you grow your firm, head on over to backofficebetties.com and mention the Solo De Facto show for an exclusive listener offer.